time has Elon Musk declared his opposition to the slaughter and genocide carried out in Gaza by the Israelis. So where is the so-called objectivity and wisdom of Elon Musk? And his algorithms, the X algorithm, is just designed to promote whatever latest thing he wants to masturbate to. That's the truth of the matter. Because if you look, because there's no discussion. Any discussion that is in favor of the Palestinians is pushed to the side. A discussion in favor of Israel, or in favor of Donald Trump, or in favor of Tommy Robinson, who are all linked together. Yeah, Tommy Robinson, Elon Musk, and Nigel Farage, they're all linked together. They're all part of the Israel lobby. They're all part of the Israel lobby. So the idea that they're standing up for freedom and free speech is a complete and absolute lie. And even Robert Kennedy, and I was reading his book and supporting his book for a period of time. If you look at what he's now saying, suddenly he's like halfway in between things. Shortly he'll be subordinate to the giant. He said, "I know what to do because I've run various campaigns." He doesn't know. They'll run rings around him, left, right, and centre. The NIH, the pharma companies, and they're already lobbying Trump and lobbying Kennedy. And they've got enough on Kennedy. He's not even denied it. They've got enough filth on Kennedy to bring him down whenever they want. And they can always kick him out at any moment. Because he would get a certain vote for them. Yes. Now, that doesn't mean he won't, as I said a few weeks ago, to the degree that he changes the attitude and approach towards healthcare in America or elsewhere, that will be a positive thing. But you've got to understand the balance of forces in power in America. And that's about big capital, monopoly capital, big finance, big business, and the long-standing bureaucracy associated with that acts as a go-between government and them. And the idea that you can eliminate them by one man turning up and saying, "I will fight against this," or "I will fight against that," is nonsensical. As soon as you seriously threaten their power, they will mobilize their resources against you. And within the billionaires themselves, that will happen as well. And that's why, for now, come here, Zuckerberg, bring him in. You're part of the game. And all the pharma companies have been running over to meet at Mar-a-Lago to meet with Donald Trump as well. And Keir Starmer's about to shoot her. If he got the chance, he'd run there and stick his face up his bum as soon as he could. Of course he would, you know. Yes, of course he will. Sorry? He does prefer to be the World Economic Forum. But unlike Piers Corbyn here, I do not think the World Economic Forum has a particularly significant influence anymore. The global division of power, the global splintering of power is the key characteristic of our era. It's a meeting place where the ruling classes and governments of the world used to get together and make a minimal agreement as to what they can do collectively. But there's very little now you can list that they can do collectively. And therefore, that's why Donald Trump is introducing, or will introduce, massive tariff controls over the world. The climate machinery is a giant global industry. I looked, for example, about China. I looked into the data on China over the last few weeks. And I asked, to what degree is China's energy policy, in other words, it's the biggest green energy policy of any country in the world, massive investments in solar panels, electric vehicles, in all these things that are called the green technologies. You're saying it's a PR op. Actually, when I looked into the data on it, about 10% of the policy is made based on climate stories. The rest of the policy in China, 90% of its policy is based on energy security. And energy security is about protecting itself in the event of war between the West and China. That's what it's about. It's got nothing to do with green and climate and CO2. In fact, in order to produce this energy security based on green technology, China is producing thousands of times more CO2 than the Industrial Revolution produced. Every year it produces masses of CO2 in order to produce the steel industry, the concrete industry, and the modernization of China. All that massive rise in industrial emissions by China is all supposedly to create a green economy, according to the green theories. But in actual fact, what's happening is China is producing its green technology in order to guarantee energy security. Now, it could be that they've been sucked in too early, and that the late taker-uppers, for example, if America does grab Greenland, does get Canada to subordinate itself to America in extracting rare earth metals, to fund America's green industrialization and fund Tesla cars and so on to try and take on Chinese cars. Chinese are making cars now, electric vehicles, that give a guarantee of 1,000,000 miles. A million miles. Yes, a million, not 1,000,000 miles on a single charge, but a guaranteed car functioning and repaired for 1,000,000 miles over its lifetime. So the battery power, and these cars, some of the cars in China are going for several £1,000s to buy an electric vehicle. So they're way outstripping the Americans. That's why America requires the government to act as the agent to transfer resources from the people of America towards the state in order to try and compete against the Chinese. That's what Elon Musk is after. Subsidy, subsidy, subsidy.
He always has been.
Well, that's right. In Britain, we subsidise Elon Musk through the hilt. Something like £170 million we've given to Elon Musk. That's how they make their so-called clever ideas. They base their ideas on money that comes out of our pockets. That's basically what it is. And then they make out he's so clever. Did you see that robot he made? What was it called? Optimus. He brought out these. He had a TV show, TV performance. He got these robots, and the robot looks a bit like Sam here, but without the face. And then moved around like this, and like, hi, would you like a drink? And then he got a drink and all the rest of it. And then people were chatting to the robot, and then people thought, my God, even I thought when I watched it, I thought, well, they got robots that look like humans and can do things like humans. Turned out, a few days later, we discovered all the robots were actually remote controlled by human beings. And they were not robots at all. The responses they were given controlled by human beings, the actions they did, people were behind in the background like a puppet controlling the so-called robot. Robots cannot do what they make out they can do. The dexterity and flexibility of the human hand is too unique. They can do simple tasks. So, for example, could you have sex with one, you mean? Probably you could. But they could do ironing. They could do ironing. Or they can move a machine around. They can fix certain, like they've done in car manufacture and so on. To be fair, the Chinese at least recognise this. In general, they recognise it and use most of the robots in manufacturing, rather than trying to pretend that they can replace a human being. Although they have started making some robots that, for show, that look like a human being, or But otherwise, the idea that robots are about to take over, it's a lot of bullshit. It's a lot of bullshit. But it gives the impression of omnipotence and power driving the people in charge of society. Their robot army, their robot dog, the robot policeman. We probably do better than the ones we got here with the robot policeman, actually. Any case, is there a final question, or shall I close? Yes, sir.
Why is Musk getting involved in Farage?
Why is what?
Musk.
Why is he getting involved with what?
Elon Musk getting involved with Farage.
With what?
Attacking Farage.
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 Elon Musk, he made a special speech a couple of days ago. Take a look out for that on Israel. And he basically declared undying support for Israel. Undying support for Israel. Elon Musk. An undying declaration of love and support for Israel. Well, who are the people in Britain stirring up hatred, and in Europe, stirring up hatred between the communities in a way that directly supports Israel, which means this: anti-Islamic, anti-Muslim attacks. Who is doing that? Who's behind it? Who's stirring it all up? It comes from the top, and it comes from layers being financed and supported by Israel, and that you can name them both, or name three of them straight away. One is Tommy Robinson, finance supported by Israel.
Yeah.
Two is Nigel Farage, finance supported by Israel. And Elon Musk, finance supported by Israel. And if you get on to the other ones, you know, Keir Starmer, finance supported by Israel. What's the Tory party? Also finance supported. Also finance supported by Israel. So the key factor is all the parties being supported by the establishment, and in particular those so-called far-right parties getting the backing of Elon Musk, are doing the bidding of Israel. And even Donald Trump is doing that.
Musk attacking Farage. That was the question.
Yeah,
Because he wants to promote Tommy Robinson. He doesn't trust Farage. Farage is too independent for him. It's one thing to be subordinate to Trump, like to be next to him, because it rubs off on him. And Elon Musk is making the news more than Donald Trump. So suddenly Elon Musk thinks, I know what, Donald Trump won't last long, and I can run for president of America once he falls. That's Elon Musk's thinking. Yeah, of course it is. And then on the other side he's thinking, and his dad said it last week as well, rather than Nigel Farage, who you won't be able to control, he's got his own independent, he can talk, he can speak on his own, he's not a geek like that, and he's not ramming ketamine up his nose every couple of hours, unlike Elon Musk. And therefore he thought, his father Trevor said, well, we must support Tommy Robinson, because when he comes out of prison he'll be a hero, and if he's in charge of reform, then he can take over, become the Prime Minister of England with a bit of force. That's the plan of Elon Musk. That's what it is. It's not complicated. And in Germany he wants Weidel in charge, you know. And he doesn't know, I mean, he may know a few geeky things about some computers and stuff, but in terms of politics, Elon Musk is an ignoramus. He's an ignoramus. He's a thicko, a dimwit. And yet, he's got enough money to make his snippets of so-called wisdom appear to be somehow clever. You know, why? Because 500 million people see the nonsense he puts out. He liked Tommy Robinson's ridiculous video about this Syrian kid. Ridiculous video where he just lies through and through. And yet he put it out. Elon Musk supported it. It jumped from 17 million views to 92 million views. It's a bigger blockbuster than the Titanic. And it's the shittiest film in the world. So there you go. That's how our world is heading, with these morons in charge. I've been speaking for a while. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next week.
Yeah, quick round of applause for your video.
There you go. That's right.
To you.
Oh, for me.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's
Okay.
not connect. It's not connect. It's connect with my phones.
Oh,
So
it doesn't matter.
yeah.
All right.
I'll connect with your phone.
I'll just
No
be
problem.
low.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone please, here's Bobby.
Hello. Hello.